All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope this video finds you well. If you haven't watched the last video that I did, we're doing a series here on arm structure, why it's important, how we can get better at it, and more than anything, just giving you a little better understanding of if and how and why this might be something that is beneficial to you. So if you haven't watched that last video, I've got a link down there below. Please check that out. Also got a free crash course on understanding impact. Would love to have you a part of that. Big shout out. Thanks again to my sponsors, Red Vanley Apparel. Their stuff is awesome. Drew Belts, iRange Sports. We'll leave some links down in there below if you guys are interested in any of their products. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. So this video right here, we're going to stay on the topic of arm structure, and more importantly, I'm going to show you one of the ways that I've practiced this. I just had a student recently, just the other night. I was working on a similar program with him with how to do this functionally. So I know a lot of you right now, you're getting ready to go into what you would call your quote unquote your off season. Golf courses might be closing down up north where it's getting a little bit chillier. And I think this is still a time that we can use, even if it means we don't get to hit a lot of golf balls. We can use this time to start to gain some awareness on changing some of the things that we deem necessary that are, again, always going to help us get better at impact, get better at contact, give us some more predictability in what the golf swing's doing. So one of my biggest issues, like I'm sure all of you guys know, my arm structure issue was a very, very big issue, something I wanted to fix for a long time. And it wasn't until recently that I actually started learning how to, more than anything, practice it in the right manner. So practice it in a way that I'm actually challenging the neurological system to do something different, but I'm also training the supporting muscle groups and movement patterns, how to move functionally that way, and really using the key word being awareness. So we did one of these stretches in the last video. I'm going to go through it again. So I'm going to run you through a way that I would practice this, in a way that I think you guys could use something like this at home for how to get this trail arm, instead of it wanting to ride back internal, getting stuck behind us, causing some of our movement into the golf ball, and more than anything, just causing some instability, making the golf club be less stable through the hitting area. So the very first drill, the very first thing that I do inside of a practice session, and I swear to you, I still do this to this day, is what I'll do is I'll take my trail hand, I'm going to hold the club just like this in these three fingers, middle, index, thumb, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip this over the back of my elbow. So I'm going to form a 90-degree angle here from the shoulder to the elbow to the wrist, and this right here is going to rest against this. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring awareness to what external rotation is. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go past a little bit what is comfortable for me. So I never used to be able to go this far. And when you're doing this, one of the big things to watch for is I watch a lot of people and they just start side bending with it. Okay, well, if you're side bending with it, you're actually training what the spine is doing versus what the shoulder joint and the arm structure is doing. So you're going to keep your spine here at neutral, and we're going to hold this. Now, I would start off in holding this in increments of about 10 seconds. So I've been here about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I go there, take a break, shake it out if I need to, throw it back in there, and I would run through, I'd probably do a set of somewhere between 5 and 10 of these to start, where I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to hold this, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, I think it's important as well to train this on both sides. So I do this with my lead arm as well, especially where when we look at this, things, in my opinion, from a stock model, they would work in symmetry. So if I'm creating external rotation on this side, Well, on the through side of the swing, this is going to be working external. I'm not going to go external here, internal there. This is going to be working more in this type of a manner. So I'm going to run through the same exact stretch that I do there. This one's actually harder for me now than what my trail arm is. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to take the club head again, move it towards the middle of my body while I keep this pressure on here. So my wrist is into an extension position, club is on my elbow, and I'm going to hold this for 10. Now, what I would do is I would start off there and do that in sets. Just like if you're at the gym or something, do this in sets to where you're going 5 sets, 10 sets. And all this is doing is this is just waking up some of the new fascia, some of the new movement patterns, and it is getting our brain aware, okay, we're gonna start teaching this shoulder and this arm structure to move this direction. Okay, the next place that I would then go, so I'm gonna put this back over my trail arm where that's gonna be our main topic of discussion right here today. And I would hold this here, go this direction, and I'm going to put the club head here on my lead hip. I might slide my arm in a little bit closer to my body, and now from here what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to turn the body back about 45 degrees or so. And I'm going to hold this while I'm staying on center, because this is now putting a deeper stretch into this, and this is starting to mimic some of what my backswing is doing. So you'll notice when I do this, I'm going to keep my left shoulder and my ground in the same spot. I'm not going to move backwards with this. I'm going to stay on center, move this to here, and I'm going to hold this again for about 10 seconds. I'm not completing a full turn. I'm just moving about yay far. So if this is me neutral, I'm going about this far, and I would be holding this. So you can see here, my elbow would be in front of the seam line on my shirt right here. I'm gonna hold this for about 10 seconds. And then I'll take this out, move it around, relax a bit, and I would run through this, and I would do it again. So I've got, again, the club head is here on my lead hip. This is at a 90. I'm gonna keep that at a 90 and turn. I'll do this again from here, keep this at a 90 and turn, and I'm gonna hold this for about 10 seconds. And so what this is doing is this is helping get us aware of how something is going to move differently. So like we talked about in that previous video, we want this trail elbow, once it gets to about here where we get the forearm, the elbow joint, the wrist joint, the humerus, and the shoulder in line right here, we want this to be a pivot point for what the forearm, the hands, and the golf club starts to work around, versus just the shoulder joint staying here and us pulling this back behind it. You can see how the shoulder would still be moving, the forearm would still be moving, and the elbow is working more as the pivot point right there for us in this area. Now, the next place that I would go into is I'm gonna do a set of 5 where I rehearse in slow motion what my backswing feel is. So all I'm going to do here is make a backswing feel. So I'm gonna go here, go to my takeaway, okay, just past P2, in between P2 and P3, use this elbow joint as my pivot, and again, what I'm feeling here is this trail arm, humerus, and elbow are resisting against the pressure that I'm putting into this with my lead arm and my rotation. So I'd be here, pressure, and I'm gonna hold this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Take a break, and all I'm doing is building up awareness of where I'm trying to get this golf club to in space. For the vast majority of you, this is not going to probably feel natural if this is an area that you struggle with. So like if you have access to a mirror or an iPad or a phone, set your phone up right here behind you. You could use like a stick right here. You could use this eye range stick. Set this up, throw your phone on it so you could actually see yourself doing that. That would be a great way of practicing this right here. So I'm gonna go here again. I'm gonna go takeaway, just past it. Elbow joint is here. pressurize this back and hold this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now again, when I'm up here doing this, I'm fighting to try and keep this humerus staying this direction versus letting it go this way where it would be moving into internal rotation. So I'm really fighting hard with that. And the thing that you'll want to make sure of when you do this is we don't want to just see a backswing up here to where we're just lifting this straight up in the air. We still need to see handle depth to where the golf club is getting back here closer to where the trail heel is. So this part of the routine and the practice session that we're doing, we're going to hold this for about 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now I have my awareness for what that is. So now instead of just staying in slow motion, the next place that I'm going to go is I'm going to make backswings. I'm going to make 10 of them relatively aggressive, possibly even faster than what I would normally swing. So we're challenging the neurological system now, not just from a place in space that we're getting it to, but now we're going to do it at speed, just like what we would be doing in our actual motion. So we're training all of these different aspects from awareness to the feel of where we're trying to get to, and now how we're going to be moving this into what our motion would be to get comfortable with that in the backswing. So I'd be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a set of 10 at a relatively higher pace. So I'm right here. So the first one, there's where I want to get to. Okay. Now I've got that feel. I'm going to do 10 of these pretty quick. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the areas that you will feel this in, you'll feel a stretch this direction. You're going to feel this in your trail scapula right here. You're going to be feeling that, and it's going to be creating a stretch that we're not used to. Then we're going to go nextly from there to how this arm is going to transition. So again, when I get up here to the top externally, that tension that we've built up right here, if we let the forearm beat the humerus this way, we're releasing all of that tension, which turns into a steepening of the golf club. So once we get up here now, we're going to go here, bring this in. So you can see this humerus has worked well in front of, this humerus and this elbow has worked well in front of where my seam line is. And a good relationship would be that the grip is pointed at ball line or even minutely outside of it there. So now we're going to do a set of 5, and we're going to hold the transition from P4. So P4 is the top of the swing, down to about P5.5. This would be P6. Okay, P5 is lead arm parallel. We'll go right in between P5 and P6. So we're going to go here, swing it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do it again. Swing it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I show you what that looks like now from face on, swing it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would do a set of 5 to 10. And then what we can do is we can start to use this and incrementally do practice sessions inside of it. We could do this once a day. We could do this twice a day. We could do it 3 times a day. It really depends on where you're at, how dedicated you want to be to changing this, and how we're actually going to put a process into place that we can fix it. Now, when I hit balls nextly, I'm going to do these in a variance of speeds. I'm going to do this at slow, medium, and fast. And so what I have right here is I have this carabiner. Okay? I like using stuff like this because it has a little bit more feel to it. A lot of times a glove, I don't recognize where a glove is. And so where I'm gonna put this, rather than putting it underneath my armpit in front right here, where I'm going to take this is I'm gonna take this at the back part of where my tricep would sit, and I'm gonna pinch that in there. Because if I have any sort of internal movement there, I'm going to be dropping that. So I'm gonna start right in here. We're gonna start right here. I'm gonna put this behind, and our goal is gonna be to keep this in all the way to impact. So when you look at me at setup, you can see I've presented the shoulder external. I have my trail elbow closer to where my midline is so that this is tucked. So I'm gonna go, there's my feel, there's my feel, here's impact. Then I would hit. And that would be more of what my look would be right there. Once we start to get comfortable with this, then we can start to move it up gradually in speed. You'll probably end up losing this eventually on the through side. So again, you're not putting this completely underneath the armpit. It's gonna be towards the back part of it where you really have to fight to keep that pressure there. We're gonna set up here. There's my feel, bring it down. There's impact, let it rip. And that would be more of look would be right there. So this is a way that we can take how we're bringing awareness to something, how we're starting to change it, doing it segmentally, getting better at it with each station that we do, going from awareness to slow to faster, then throwing something in there that gives us awareness in our motion, and then use video. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure you understand where it is that you're trying to be, why you're trying to do it, and most of all, how you're going to do it in order to get these changes implemented. So this was a big piece for me. I'm very happy that I've done it. I'm not gonna stand here and say it was easy, but man, was it worth it. So if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, any of the video, please leave that in the comments section down below. I will get back to each and every one of you. Thanks again for your support. We'll see you next time.